Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and all Africans living in the Bronx. This is the first episode of your show, Africans in the Bronx, on BronxNet TV with your host, Babakar Jam. Stay tuned for the headlines. Sit down together, people of brotherhood. Today, in our first episode, we will let you discover a young African artist from Togo. His name is Atsu Bejane. He has been in the music industry for 5 years now. He's pretty good. We'll let you know about him later. And our guest today is Ajib Cisse, president of Nasrul America. He will talk about an event organized in the Bronx to commemorate Sheikh Hassan Cisse, an Islamic scholar from Senegal. And last but not least, the clip of the day. We will let you watch a nice clip from Salif Keita. He's from Mali. You all know him. So stay tuned for more stories. Sit down together, people of brotherhood. I have a dream. Hello once again. Let's begin the show with some news. News from Africans living in the Bronx and then news concerning Africans living in the Bronx. Welcome again to this program, Africans in the Bronx. For today's news, we have the Muhammad Marda. He's the chairman of African Advisory Council, and we're going to talk about their monthly meeting that they have every Thursday, first Thursday of the month.
Yes.
Muhammad, after greeting you, welcome to this program, Africans in the Bronx.
Thank you very much, Babakar. It's nice to be here. And I'm actually looking forward to this program. Yes, I think as you mentioned, the African Advisory Council, we meet every first Thursday of the month at the Bronx County Building, which is the exact address is 851 Grand Concourse. And we are in room 915, room 915, which is where we have our monthly meeting. And the idea of the monthly meeting is to enlighten the community, bring resources that impact the community. So in our February meeting, I think if you would remember, the Supreme Court had just passed a law that the public charge rule can apply when it comes to immigration. And what public charge means is that anybody who is on Medicaid or is getting government benefits, they can use that against you during your immigration proceedings. And so we wanted to enlighten the community about the new rule and what it means to our community. And so we had a lawyer come and do a presentation on that and show us what the public charge rule is, what it means for our community, and how people can protect themselves going forward. At the same time, we also talked about the census, which is really a major thing that's coming up in this country. As you know, census happens every 10 years. And we had someone from the Census Bureau come and talk about the census and how important it is for our communities to get involved and make sure that Africans in the Bronx get counted. We also talked about the ban on Nigeria, which is something that, in fact, today there is a rally, if you will, at the Africa Center in Harlem. And we're going to be talking about this ban on Nigerian immigrants coming to the U.S. and what we can do as Africans to make sure that we fight this rule that the government is putting up on the ban on Nigeria. And the final topic that we talked about that particular day, still on immigration, was talking about the Liberian green card that everyone is talking about. As most people know, in the last budget that was passed in Congress, there was a budget line item that gave Liberians who are in the United States the pathway to a green card. So, but there are some eligibility requirements, and so the lawyer talked about that and gave people the guidelines on how you can apply and how to find out if you are eligible and what some of the disqualification rules are So if you know that you have any of those rules against you, then you don't need to apply. So those are the things that we talked about. Apart from, of course, our advisory council business that we have a few events coming up.
So you mentioned earlier about like many things you talk in that during that meeting, ban on Nigeria and then Liberian green card and the census and stuff like that.
Right.
So about like issues like a ban on Nigeria, do you take like any action, you know, to just like solutions for that ban?
We haven't taken action. As you know, this rule just came out recently, and so one of the reasons why today we are joining other African organizations like African Communities Together, which is one of the largest advocacy groups in New York, to discuss what we can do as a community to fight this ban on Nigeria. And it's not only Nigeria, but there are at least 4 African countries. I think Sudan, and I believe Tanzania is involved. So we need to find a way to find what action we can take to stop this process.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Let's move on. As I mentioned it in the headlines, we are going to let you discover a young African musician living in the Bronx. His name is Atsu Beijing, and he came to the U.S. when he was 6 years old. He's a student. He's struggling to find his way in the music industry, and we will not tell you more about him. Just watch this.
My ride or die. Baby, for sure, I know you got my back. Hell and back. Bella, you.
Atsu Beijing is a born Togolese musician who lives in the Bronx with his family. 21 years old, Atsu came to the US in 2006 when he was just 8 years old. Atsu and music is a long story that begins when he was a kid.
I used to drum roll mom in class all the time, and I used to get in trouble for it too. And then when I got to college, I realized that it's easy to make music, especially when you have resources around you. You have studios that don't cost that much. So I just started, you know, taking chances, going to studio and making something up.
Suji!
Close up. One by one, baby, 2 by 2.
From Lome to New York, Accra to Dakar, the young artist has entertained his audience with an Afrobeat that makes his style different and outstanding. Through his music, artists want to show more about African culture and offer a different tone to the music lovers.
Wind up on it, hold it on me, let me have it. I don't make music like traditional American music. I make it using African tone. Sometimes we use broken English. Broken English is English that's mixed up with the African, African ways, and then mixed up with little African drums and stuff like that to incorporate this talent, and then we sell it to the audience. That's how we bring out the culture.
Despite challenges he faces to make his sound audible to the farthest corners in US and Africa, Atsu strongly believes that his style will meet the musical tastes of all Americans in their entire diversity.
The biggest challenge is getting your music to the right audience, because you know it's going to take a lot of time for the American culture and other culture to embrace the unique gift that come from Africa. So that's the milestone that I still and many African artists has to achieve. We have to tell them how great our culture is, and for them to appreciate who we are for who we are, not just what they want us to be, but to appreciate where we come from and what we really are, the African culture, the true African culture. But the main challenge is the American audience. For so many years, there has been misconception about the African culture. So it's like we trying to bring back this image that was never there. So we try to fix this image through our music, our art, and through many stuff. But I'm bringing it through the music side, and that's how I'm selling it to the Black American, the White American, the Jewish American, and any type of American. That's my way of selling it to them, that this African culture. They get to learn a lot from African music. It's not just a sound that's coming from a stereo. It's a whole culture. It's this whole drum. It's this whole sounds that they never heard in their life before. It make their body moves. It make them want to travel to the continent of Africa, and and it's it help the African population and stuff in a big way too.
Doing music in an African family is not always easy, especially when they want you to focus on studies to get more degrees. But Atsu finds a way to combine his passion with his family's demands.
African culture is difficult to get support when it comes to a career that's not being a doctor or an engineer, because they don't want you to mess up in life. They want you to pursue a career that's guaranteed. For music, they don't really support like that, but they don't put me down either. They just want me to, put my school first, and then whatever music take me, they don't really mind. It's like I'm satisfying both myself and them, so they don't really have a problem right now.
Meanwhile, Atsu Beijing is working through his biggest dream, which is to bring his Togolese and African style to the rest of the world.
Without you, let me hold on tight to your body now. I go sacrifice.
Now here we come to our guest of the day. His name is Mr. Ayib Cisse, and he's the president of Nasrul Ilm America, an Islamic organization in New York. On December 10th, they organized the commemoration of Sheikh Hassan Cisse, a religious scholar from Senegal in West Africa. The event gathered people from Senegal and the United States of America. So let's just listen to him.
Alhamdulillah, we are blessed to have commemorated our beloved Sheikh Hassan Sisi for 10 years now. This year was a special year for us because it's very hard to do something consistently here in America. You either tie down to your job, your family, your responsibilities, and it's very hard to focus on things that is not tangible to you. So, alhamdulillah, Nasr America has completed 10 years of commemorating the beloved Sheikh Hassan Sisi for coming to America and actually lifting us up from the ashes and making us better Muslims. The objective of organizing this event is not just to talk about the life of Sheikh Hassan Sisi. It's a call to action. Every individual, if you follow the leadership of Sheikh Hassan, he wasn't just a man of words, he was a man of action. And we here in America, as his students, family members, we use him as an example to call each other to action, whether it be via action in the Islamic or secular or humanitarian sector. We are here to call everybody to be a service to humanity, to show Islam in its most prophetic sense, which is being mercy to mankind. So the African American Islamic Institute was the mother of our Nasr America. So we all went to the African American Islamic Institute as young Americans. Some finished Quran, some didn't. but we all came back as outstanding citizens with good character that we obtained in Africa. When we got back here, we all, as America is very busy. We all wanted to start something similar to what we grew up in Senegal, and Shah Hassan advised us to start a nonprofit or a group of us just getting together to do the service work here in America, which is feeding people, giving dawah, or more interacting than dawah, like serving the homeless. So we created a group. Let me ask the Sheikh Hassan for the name, and he named it Nasrul America. And then from there, we have been, that was about 11 years ago. From that day until now, we've been servicing the homeless. We've been sending 200 people rice in Africa. We've been digging wells in Africa. We've been having coat drives. We've been dealing with Flint, Michigan water crisis, the earthquake in Haiti and Puerto Rico. We've done a lot of relief efforts under the banner of the African American Islamic Institute and under the banner of Nasr America.
Being a Muslim, a Tijani, a Shahzan follower in New York City, the busiest city in the world, how do you live that?
Everything is, you live it day by day and with patience. And we try to remember what Sheikh Hassan told us. Stop where Allah says stop. So we try our best to live our life according to the Quran and Sunnah. That helps a lot in this crazy environment, because at the end of the day, the Western society is a selfish society. It teaches you to only care about what you're doing and what you have. But the life in Senegal and Africa that we grew up with, if you have a plate of food, it's enough for one, it's enough for two. So living here, you kind of want to have that same way of life. So it's not difficult, because you have maybe 50 to 60 people who have went to Africa and came back and have the same missions and goals as yourself. And now we all have children, so we try to interact as much as possible on our holidays and this commemoration that we do. It's like, it's not only a commemoration, like I said, it's a reunion of brothers, and the meeting of your brother is the best thing you can do to ziyarah each other.
You also have a big project of Zawiya of
Yes, the Zawiya project is what we rolled out this year at the ziyarah. Alhamdulillah, not only in New York, but across the United States, we have a consensus to try to build something and keep it in the name and legacy of our beloved Shah Sisi. He tried to build this Zawiya, he called to us to build the Zawiya in his lifetime, and we never really, it's kind of like you get caught up in the light. You don't know, it took him to leave for us to really grow up, to want to do something. It's like you were always waiting on him to finish a project. He built a university. He built the hospital. He built the radio station. So for us, it was like you were always just in support of him and his vision. But when he passed, it gave us, now you got to grow up. You have to be the one to lead by example. So this Zawiya project is not only for us, it's for our children to have a place where we can now practice Islam accordingly to what we grew up in Africa. And we can service the people in the community, Muslim and non-Muslim, how we saw our beloved Shah Hassan do it in Africa, and now we can duplicate it here in America. So this project is a huge project that we're undertaking. It's around $22 million, but that's just a number. But it will have affordable housing. It will have lodging for our esteemed guests. It'll be a Zawiya, and most importantly, it'll be a library, because our organization is named Nasrul beneficial knowledge. And we want to help the community learn about Islam and be informative that Islam is not a religion of terrorists or terrorism. Islam is the most peaceful religion on this earth. And what better way to show people that by giving them the information to read and learn and ultimately maybe take Shahada. So we want to build a library, a real high-tech library and research center, inshallah, in this facility.
We need people to start turning out in force to give blood.
Blood drives across the country are canceling.
I depend on blood donors to live. It's a matter of life and death.
I'm so grateful for everyone that took the time to donate blood. It saved my life.
Without it, we can't live.
A patient is treated with a blood transfusion every 2 seconds.
If you don't have a blood supply, surgery at a hospital basically shuts down.
There's an immediate need for blood donation.
It's a very safe thing to do to go give blood. People should do it because they can help save lives.
And last but not least, here we come to the clip of the day. We're going to let you watch a nice clip from Salif Keita. He's a musician from Mali. The song is called Africa, so let's enjoy it.
Africa, 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 Africa.
Keke, il y a Nolé, il y a Foutou, il y a Foufou, il y a Loco, oh, que nous pouvons manger. Il y a du Tchep, il y a Yassa, il y a Mafé et Fakoy, il y a Coco, oh, que nous pouvons manger. Quand il va signer le Kabbalah Magada, avec ma coromanco.
Africa, 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 eh.
Coronara Bugula Sobo Mabelena, avec ma coromanco.
Africa, 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 eh.
Coronara Bugula Sobo Mabelena, avec ma coromanco.
Africa, 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 eh.
Africa, 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 oh Africa, eh. Africa, eh. Oh, Africa, oh yeah, oh, 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 oh.
Africa, 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 eh.
Africa, 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 oh Africa, eh. Africa, eh. Oh, Africa, oh yeah, oh, 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 oh.
Africa, 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 eh.
Thank you, viewers. This was your first episode of the show African in the Bronx on BronxNet TV. Thank you once again for watching. See you next time.
Nothing can stand in the way of the power of millions of voices calling for change.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal.
J'ai fait le rêve que le peuple se lèvera dans mon rêve. Cette fille se lèvera dans mon rêve. Le fils se lèvera main dans la main. La mère se lèvera dans mon rêve. C'est des noirs et des blancs. C'est des jaunes et des rouges. Tout est plein de couleurs. Des jaunes et des rouges et des noirs et des blancs. Dans mon rêve, y a pas d'homme qui est dominé. Pas de peuple qui est dominé. Pas de terre qui est dominée. Et l'état tout c'est la haine est dominée. Dans mon rêve, des colons éliminés. Colonies éliminées. J'abolis les colonies damnées de la terre, toutes les colonies dans mon rêve, le raciste éliminé, xénophobe éliminé, homophobe éliminé, antisémite et camite éliminé.
I have a dream that one day